Welcome to Manufacturing Matters Jackson, the first and only television show dedicated to supporting the manufacturing industry of Jackson County, Michigan. My name is Keith Gillenwater, and I am the president and CEO of Accelerate Jackson County.
And I'm Olivia Steele, Executive Director of JAMA.
So, Olivia, did you ever think in your wildest dreams that our small little podcast that we started recording last year would now be a television show?
No, and certainly not after 12 months.
Certainly not after 12 months. So you're now a TV star.
Yeah, and so are you. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I always thought I was destined for... No, just kidding. It's mind-blowing, right? This is crazy that we're sitting here doing this. This is nothing I ever would have thought of when we were talking about doing a podcast together, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, when I went to David for the first time and I was like, hey, so I've been thinking about this podcast idea, and he got so excited. And then it's turned into this, and just to watch how we've morphed, and I feel like every episode has been something different. And so seeing that now we're here on set, it's really changed.
So I hope that our viewers will go back and watch some of our earlier podcasts, particularly our first one, from where we went and that progression from our first episode where we're sitting in spinny chairs and, over in our building.
And David yelling at me, stop spinning.
Yeah, I do recall that. And you will also hear us in those podcasts throughout those episodes doing call outs to our producer, David, who is still now an associate producer on our show and is sitting off camera for us. David, you're still there, right?
I'm still there.
Absolutely. But we now have another producer with Lucas from JTV. And so we'll have to get Lucas worked into the show as well a little bit.
Yeah. So tell me, what's going on at Accelerate Jackson?
Yeah, so Accelerate Jackson County, it's a new year, right? And so we are just now starting to implement our Accelerate 2030 goals that I was talking about on our podcast for the last few months. We're still trying to wrap up our campaign, but we're sitting at about 95%. So we're pretty close on our Accelerate 2030 goals. And we've got an event coming up on February 24th, our annual breakfast. And so we're hard at work planning that, getting our annual report done and those kinds of things. And so February 24th, 7:30, Jackson College at Burt Walker Hall, where we will talk about some of the cool things we worked on in 2025. And I bet the Manufacturing Matters Jackson will be a part of that as well.
I'm sure.
How about you? What's going on with the world of JAMA and the manufacturing in Jackson County?
Yeah. So first is, we were at the end of the year really trying to finalize getting that welding lab ready for classes that started on the 5th. So welding is officially started at
Awesome.
AMTC, and both JAMA and the ShopRat Foundation are offering classes. So that's awesome. We're excited about that. Next step is to finalize that machining side. But I wanted to start the year off with trying to really get feedback from our members. And so February 10th, we have 3 different member insight sessions scheduled to really figure out how do we move forward and what do we do. And we're doing that in partnership with the Lean Rocket Lab. They wanted to get feedback too. And all of us are struggling. Like, you can't do a survey and get feedback. And you can't go and meet with 250 manufacturers in a year and really get that feedback because everything is changing so quickly. So there's that. And then obviously we're going to be gearing up for the JAMA annual dinner that's in May.
Awesome. You made that comment about surveys and that people don't respond to surveys. I can't tell you how many surveys I get in the course of a week or a month or whatever that period of time you want to choose is, but you have the best of intentions. I star them. I'm like, okay, I'll get back to that. And then I never do, right? I mean, unless it's somebody that I know I have to respond to on it, it's a time suck, right? And so I think the way you're going about that is great, getting that feedback. It's kind of something we've been doing with the Drive Jackson initiative as well. And I know we talked about Drive Jackson a couple of times in our podcast episodes last year in season 1, since this is episode 1 of season 2 now. I think that's been interesting. So anything else before we introduce our guest?
I don't have anything else. What about you?
No,
Good.
I'm good.
Coming up next is Brian Cooper, President and CEO of Wire Wizard Welding Products.
So, welcome back to Manufacturing Matters Jackson. Would like to welcome Brian Cooper, President and CEO of Wire Wizard Welding Products, to our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Our first guest on our new television show, airing on Thursdays on JTV at 4:30.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
You can only go up from here.
We
right.
can only go up from here. So,
Yeah.
Tell us about Wire Wizard Welding Products.
Okay, so we were founded in 1985 by my father, who was a welding educator. He taught a vocational school here at the Career Center for, I believe, 22 or 23 years. Somebody who was passionate about teaching students and kind of helping, pick up another generation the way that he was, but really not designed to work for somebody else long term. So he's an inventor to his core, and so he had one great idea, went into small production on it for a national wire manufacturer for welding wire, came up with one product, and then did that for a little while on the side. And a couple years later, he took a year sabbatical to work on the business, a couple more ideas, came back to school for 1 year, then bought out his own retirement and never looked back. Since then, we have over 100 patents in our portfolio historically. That's across the globe. We've got just a wonderful manufacturing group here in Jackson. We employ a little shy of 70 people currently. Really we're a place that's built on the family that started it. My father was a true visionary in every sense of the word. I'm blessed to be able to kind of follow in his footsteps and take what he did an incredible job building out and kind of expand it for the future.
That's awesome.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you have, become the new leader of the organization? We've talked a lot about how your dad got to where he's at. I'd love to know a little bit more about how you've gotten here.
Sure. So, full disclosure, I was the type that had to prove in life that I didn't need my dad or his company from a young age. Had to kind of forge my own path, and I did. I went out and became an executive in the restaurant business at probably way too young of an age. But through that, I learned everything about systems. In the restaurant business, if you don't follow systems, people get sick, you lose business. So we had a meeting of the minds when I had a really bad day and had talked to my mom on the phone, and he called me and said, it's time for you to come back. And so I did. I came back and I actually started in shipping and receiving and worked my way all the way through the organization. And along the way, I've literally done almost every position in the company, but spent the lion's share of my time in sales and then sales leadership. So I spent a couple years as executive vice president under my father, where we were really kind of working more side by side, and then, to everybody's surprise, I think maybe even his own, he just all of a sudden one day, kind of post-COVID said, hey, I think it's time for you to take over. Because really we all thought that he was going to work, forever, because that's just what he's designed to do. But what we thought would be a difficult transition, he handled with, just grace and class. And, it was a few months of him really kind of checking in and that kind of thing. But the trust that he's shown in me is just, incredible. And I'm extremely grateful, because it actually made the process a lot smoother. And now he's mostly retired. We have a couple other businesses that he spends a lot of his time in still here in Jackson, but he's really done an incredible job of allowing me to do what needs to be done to modernize the company and continue our expansion.
Well, I think something you said there is something I have thought for a long time, is you getting your start in the restaurant business. I have told this to 100 people that I think at some point in everybody's life, they should work in the restaurant business, because you learn so much about systems. You learn so much about how to work with a customer, how to work with difficult people, how to work with a diverse group of people and a diverse group of thoughts and processes and those kinds of things. And then you learn very quickly what it takes to be successful for you personally. And so I will also tell you, I would never go back to work in the restaurant business, right? Like, I was a delivery driver, I was a waiter, I also washed dishes, and so I kind of did a little bit of everything. And it helps shape your perspective when you get out of that business. So have you ever had a opportunity to work in the restaurant business?
No, I worked at a grocery store. Yeah, while
That's up there
going
too.
to college. Yeah. So that's, dealing with difficult people. We definitely did that.
The restaurant business teaches you many things, but when you're in a scenario where, one, it's a great environment because not only are you dealing with people every day, if you're front of house, not only are you dealing with people every day and learning how to meld with certain personalities and things like that, but you've also got, typically a lot of good-sized chain restaurants, they've got 60 to 70 employees. So you've got a really large amount of people that work around you that you have to figure out how to work with. And that's kind of a revolving door. So it changes all the time. But I mean, I've been on the receiving end of a plate thrown across a restaurant in a dining room and have had a lady who sent me a Christmas card because every time they came in, we took such great care of them, which are the polar opposite customers, but you have to be able to figure out how to work with both. And then when you translate that into, manufacturing and the team side of things is, what is never lost on me is the fact that I can't do what my people do. Right. I can't do the job that they do every single day. I'm not a CNC machinist. I'm not a welder. I know things about them, but I'm not the person who's qualified to go and do that. So I have the utmost respect for our people who are what I would refer to as incredible Jackson County talent. Right. We do it here. Right. So we're extremely close to 100% American made. We are family owned. We have no outside investors. We've never taken on private equity. So we've really built the business through risk and leverage every step of the way, which is, like I said, that's what my father was best at. But when we go to work every day, having this incredible bank of talent that's right here in our backyard. I mean, the largest manufacturing association in the nation is in our small area. And I'll tell that to anybody who comes in on tours. We have a lot of our global customers come through on tours, and I say that, and they look at me crazy because they've only seen the hotels and restaurants on the north side of town, but they don't view us as a big town, right? And I always just tell the phrase I use often is Jackson's the place that makes stuff. Right.
Absolutely.
That's it. We make stuff, and it's everything from chocolate to welding products to exhaust components, you name it, right? A wide array of manufacturing styles. But we're blessed to have the bank of talent that we have here in town because, for us, we have to be able to compete against people who are $2 billion organizations, literally $2 billion organizations. And from our small company, they're sourcing their stuff to all these different states and, countries and things like that. And we do it all right here with just our small town.
I always make that comment that you said that, kind of picking back up on that. When people say, why Jackson County? I say, we make things and we know how to make things better than anybody else makes them. That's a Michigan thing. That's a Midwest thing, but that is a Jackson County thing, right? We know how to make things that people require, that people have to have, and we do it better than anybody else.
Yeah, we were recently up for the Michigan Manufacturer of the Year, right? Unfortunately, we were the runner-up, but it's awesome to be in that rare air, right? We were extremely blessed and honored to be a part of that. But when I'm at this dinner and I look around and I see everybody in tuxedos and suits, and every last one of us would rather be in jeans and a button-up shirt, right? We're not fancy people. We're blue collar. We make things. We go to work every day, and this is not a town full of suits. This is a town full of people that know how to get stuff done.
That's right.
Absolutely. So as we talk about this and getting things done, what products and services do you have?
Okay, so we're being Wire Wizard Welding Products. Our specialty is robotic welding equipment and semi-automatic welding equipment. Semi-automatic meaning a person hand welding. So our first product ever was for weld wire dispensing, but really nowadays we encompass the whole welding cell. Everything from the welding torch, the weld wire delivery equipment that has to get there, all of the products that the robot needs to do its job or the person needs to do its job. We've done everything from built data acquisition equipment down to very simple widgets that just make a person's job easier. Like I said, we're over 100 patents in our historical portfolio. We currently have think around 76 that are active. But we don't. I always say that we're a company that we don't do something just because somebody else does it. If we can't do it in an innovative, proprietary, patentable way that changes the game, then we're not interested in being in that game.
Nice.
Because if the people that fight and win on price, if you win it on price, you're going to lose it on price. If you win it because people can't keep up with your performance, then you're locked in to hold on to that business. And really everything about what we do, everything about our products is designed to make the person or the robot, or especially the weld tech who has to support that robot, is to make their lives easier. How do we make sure that this person doesn't have as many headaches when they go home to their family at the end of the day? So our specialty being, really wrapped up in weld cell support equipment. We have a welding anti-spatter chemical that is, really, we've been making the same product for almost 20 years, which is another proprietary formula. I always say it exists in two places: the mixing facility and my gun safe. We don't. This is the secret formula for Coke. We don't let that out, but. Yeah. But really, touching back to my father, what he did better than anything was he created a culture of innovation. So in our facility, one of the concerns that he had early on as we were kind of working through the succession process, he had some concerns about, him being the idea guy. And what do you do if I'm not here to be the idea guy all the time? And I think he probably really underestimated what he had built in terms of all of us think that way 24 hours a day. It's what's the next thing. We have a new product that turned out to be an incredible product that was literally a Saturday morning. I woke up at 4 a.m. and it popped into my head. Now, I'm not the same inventor that my dad is, but we have this team where we just never really stop thinking about the next great thing. So we constantly have new products coming out. So that culture of innovation is something that we take great pride in, because not only is our ability to innovate and our ability to go and sell and bring in new customers, that ability makes it so that we're also going to continue to employ more people in Jackson. Almost our entire supply base is extremely heavily built in Michigan. So the fact that we can not only take care of Jackson, but then our supply chain is all within about 90 minutes of us in any direction.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think we have maybe time for one more question. And, one of these questions that we've historically always asked on the podcast, but I'm going to throw it here maybe. So you talked about the products that you make, and obviously from the products that you make, we can probably surmise what industries you're serving, but where are we finding Wire Wizard products? And not necessarily in the factory, but if somebody's driving down the street, where would they see the effect of something that was touched by a Wire Wizard welding product?
Sure. So it's pretty easy. So welding is an industry that nobody sees, right? Mm-hmm. So when you drive down the road, one of my favorite things is that anytime I look at a parking lot, I can say with 100% certainty that every single one of those cars was welded somewhere along the way with Wire Wizard products. Yeah. But we do everything from, we're a supplier to everything from Tesla and Blue Origin building rockets that are going to space, John Deere and Case New Holland and all the ag businesses that are plowing and harvesting food. Obviously, automotive, but reality is anywhere where you see two pieces of metal put together, whether it's wind towers, water towers, anything like that, Wire Wizard is somehow involved.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And we've talked a lot about what you do. And so we were able to come in and get some video footage and do a tour of your facility. So at this time, let's take a look at that video and really be able to envision what you've been talking about here.
Great.
Okay, so up here's our torch assembly area where, when we say family-owned American-made, that's a core principle for us. So we really do manufacture everything here. This area is all for our Powerball torch products line. It's everything from welding torches, consumables, which are the parts that make the art. So everything up here is the final assembly of all the goods that are manufactured in our machining area. We do everything. We're a very rare company that does 100% quality checks of every single contact tip that we manufacture. But basically everything, so every single torch that we manufacture has 7 different points of patent. So we believe in intellectual property, so that Essentially, if we outperform people, they're not going to change because somebody else sells it for a cheaper price. This is our machining area. So we originally moved into this building. We actually built the building in 1999. The next addition that we added on was for machining. So this entire bay is all machining. We've got 5 turning centers that run full time. All the machines have the ability to run in the dark. So once we leave at the end of the afternoon, our machines will continue to run. So when second shift leaves, they'll run through the night. So the next area, which is actually our fastest growing division, is our Powerball product line, which is the assembly department that we just came from. So the Powerball is all of our welding guns, along with the consumables that go along with it. So over here we have 8 Citizen Swiss machines that only run red metal. So they run all of our copper and brass. They run every part that has to do with the Powerball torch line. So this is our tool making area. Essentially, we design and develop all of our own products. We're extremely heavily patent protected. We have over 100 patents in company history. But typically, it's either an idea that we've come up with on our own, or where a customer has something specific that they're asking for that's like a variation of something that we already do. This room is our newest addition, which we moved into November of 24. It's our raw material room. Essentially, because of growth, we had outgrown our space in terms of our ability to store raw material and then also be able to buy on futures. The vast majority of our product comes from here locally from Alro Steel. We've got a long-standing relationship with the team over there, and all the way back to the years of Al Glick and my father had a great relationship, and Al always had our back and stood by our side. Okay, so everything back here is our parts washing area. So everything that comes out of, especially the Swiss department with the copper and brass, has to be washed so it doesn't get coolant spots on it, because that can happen to the copper. So all of that stuff comes back here, goes through our parts washing process. We used to actually source it locally, but we just found that we do a little bit better of a job because we have the ability to take the time to make sure that it's getting fully, properly cleaned all the time. So this building is our spring winding and plastic extrusion division. There's yet another patented product that we once upon a time we had manufactured for us that we actually brought in-house to do the full spring winding here in Jackson. So this is our shipping room. So basically everything is set up. Was a recent reorganization. Everything is set up basically like you're shopping. So they get an order off the printer, and they can come through and work their way down the aisles to grab the individual items that they need. This is more quick pull. Need 5 of this, 2 of that, 20 of something else, and then when they come out the other side, they've got their loaded up cart for all of the items that are on that order. Work their way down, finish, close everything up. And then the most recent addition is our automated shipping system, which basically allows us to get automatic weights and measurements of every package that's going to go on UPS. Auto prints the labels and things like that, which is a much, much faster process for us than it was prior. So everything in here is our design rooms. We've got our 2 SolidWorks designers, combined about 35, 40 years of experience here with the company.
Well, Brian, that's an awesome video. I love that closing shot, family owned, American made. That's awesome, right?
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in that.
So, just one question about the video. So there was you had mentioned in your voiceover and on the tour that plastic extrusion. I didn't really see plastic extrusion. Can you maybe talk a little bit about what you do?
So the plastic extrusion was one of our oldest products. So we've been making that for, I don't know, since probably 1990, somewhere in there. It's for our weld wire delivery line, which is truly what Wire Wizard started off as. It was a product line. So we have we do all of our own extrusion from individual raw proprietary blend of bead with our own spring winding and a co-extrusion process. Millions of feet per year. It's a really cool process.
That's awesome. And to know that you're still doing it today is amazing. So, Brian, I want to say thank you for joining us on Manufacturing Matters Jackson. And if you guys want to continue to have the conversation that we have with Brian, feel free to follow us on Manufacturing Matters Jackson podcast. And you can find that anywhere that you listen to podcasts and on YouTube.
Look forward to continuing the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.